So like I mentioned, this is the shooting range safety course. It's for the assistant range safety officer card, and that will enable you to go to the shooting range. We have three different types of shooters cards. The one that you'll get with this session will be the assistant range safety officer. It's required to use the shooting range as an individual, and there's an annual renewal that's required. We do that for a couple of reasons. One is I think it's a good idea to touch base on safety on a periodic basis, and we also use the head count of the people that have the cards, and that determines the insurance rate on the shooting insurance. So we don't want to spend any more than we have to. If we included the whole club, it'd be about twice as many people as what we actually have. We have a junior shooter card. This is for club members that are under the age of 18, and there has to be an assistant range safety officer or deputy range safety officer has to be present with a junior shooter for this to be valid. And then the third level is the deputy range deputy range safety officer, and that allows you to bring guests to the shooting range. In order for this to be valid, you need to have the annual assistant range safety officer card, and just a reminder, you're responsible for your guests. I usually give these in person, and that's been kind of throttled back a little bit with all the COVID activity that's going on. But we'll see if we can get some as things settle down here a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to make some introductions, a little bit of shooting range history, basic firearm safety. This isn't intended to be an exhaustive firearm safety course. It's primarily to familiarize you with the POA policy and how we operate the range. We assume that you've had your firearm safety training elsewhere, either the military, an NRA type of organization, or the old-fashioned way like I did and my dad taught me. And but we'll touch on some firearm safety. We'll talk a little bit about general range safety that would be applicable to any shooting range that you might happen to visit. And there are a lot of nice shooting ranges in the area that you might be able to visit someday. And then we'll get into the specifics of our shooting range. We'll go over the POA policy review and take a look at the range layout and the operation, how we run the range. Club instructors, according to the POA policy, in order to give this course, it has to be given by a certified NRA instructor or the certified hunting safety instructors that the state operates. In the club right now, as far as I know, we have 4 NRA instructors, myself and my wife Judy, and Jim and Barb Trump. And this is my contact information if you want to get a hold of me. And that's about it for club instructors. If anybody is an NRA instructor, I'd like to get them on this list. A little bit about shooting range history. Late 2001, early 2002, there were several members of the club that wanted to start a shooting range. So obviously they had to get involved with the POA to come up with an approval process for it. And the 4 main considerations were the noise of the range, safety, security at the range, and how the range would be operated. Largely everything that you see up there at the shooting range was done by club members through volunteer work, and the berms, the piles of dirt behind this backstops was done by the POA with their equipment. So basic firearm safety, this is from NRA training course materials. Basic elements of gun safety. You need to have a positive attitude about firearms. You need knowledge of the firearms, and you need skill in how to operate the firearms. And 3 fundamental gun safety rules, and these will be on the back of your card. Always point your firearm in a safe direction. Never keep firearm unloaded until you're ready to shoot, and keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And if you follow those 3 steps, you'll be operating very safely at the range or anywhere for that matter. Primary cause of accidents is carelessness. Need to focus attention on what's going on, and ignorance. And there's a lot of ignorance going around. Obviously, new shooters are ignorant of the firearm practices and the firearms. And also, new firearms can be, you have to be particularly aware. And the example I give is that my favorite pistol design is the Browning 1911. I'm very familiar and comfortable with that, but I've never shot a Glock. So if I ever did have the opportunity to shoot a Glock, I'd have to go through and make sure I understood how the firearm operated, and be particularly alert when I started using that until I became more familiar with it. These are informal range activities, typical safety procedures that you would use at any shooting range in the area. One individual typically assumes the responsibility of the range officer. Now, in our range, a lot of times you go up there, there's a good chance you'll be by yourself, so it's not an issue. But if somebody's there or comes in while you're there, one of you needs to assume the range officer responsibility to give the firing line commands. And it's just good practice to have the firing line commands come from one individual. It's important that everybody instantly obey the firing line commands. And the most important firing line command is cease fire. And anyone can give this command at any time. Typically, it's given to stop shooting so that you can go service your targets. But we have a particular situation at our shooting range that everybody needs to be aware of, and that's the fact that you can have people coming in from any direction up there. And as soon as you see someone coming into the area, they could come in as hikers or bikers or on ATVs. You need to call a ceasefire immediately and get everybody to stop shooting. Now, when a ceasefire is called, we ask that you unload your firearms and place them on the table with the action open, and keep them that way through the whole ceasefire duration. Because there's nothing more uncomfortable and unnerving than to be down at the 100-yard target, changing your targets, and hear an action operate behind you. So during a ceasefire, let's just keep everything down and safe. And it's critically important that as soon as a ceasefire is called, shooting must stop immediately. We, every once in a while at the Women on Target event, we'll have a lady that'll just want to get one more squeezed off. And we, the range instructors with each of them tries to make sure that that doesn't happen. As soon as it's called, stop shooting. And I already said all that. So this is just a layout of the shooting range. The shooting range is down here, and the stump dump's over here, and here's the maintenance building. And you can see that it's possible to come in. People could come in from about any area around here. So just need to be alert when you're up there that can happen. And then once whatever caused the ceasefire, you're ready to start shooting again, then the range officer will check with everyone to see if they're ready. You know, They'll check ready on the right, ready on the left, and your response should be a visual response rather than saying ready. Give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, because everybody was probably or should be wearing hearing protection at that point. So it just helps to have a visual communication rather than a verbal one on that condition. And then once the range officer is satisfied that everybody's ready, they'll announce that the range is hot. You pass that along to the other shooters that are up there, and then you can begin shooting. Now we'll get into the specifics of the POA policy that governs the shooting range, and it's S13. You can find this policy on the POA website, and we also have a copy of it on the Treasure Lake Sportsman's Club website. I would recommend that you go through and read it, because we're just kind of doing a summary of the highlights here. Assistant range safety officers, in order to do that, you have to complete the club safety course, which is what this is. And then you're empowered to ensure safe operation of the range through on-site supervision. You may prohibit members from shooting if unsafe practices are witnessed, but if you're not comfortable doing that, then you can contact Treasure Lake Security if you see something that you think needs attention, particularly unauthorized persons up at the range. The hours for the shooting range are 9 a.m. to 1 hour before sunset, 7 days a week. And the 1 hour before sunset, obviously that time changes through the year. So you just want to make sure that you know about when sunset is so you can stop an hour before that. Shooting is permitted only when the shooting range officer is present. That's why your card designates you as an assistant range safety officer. Only Sportsman's Club members and currently employed Treasure Lake Security are allowed to use the range, and deputy range safety officers may host guests up at the shooting range. We do have junior members, as I mentioned earlier, but a range safety officer must be present. So that would be any club member under the age of 18. They also would have to go through this course to get their junior card. Suggested that you wear your shooter's identification card when you're up there. It makes it easy to see that you're permitted to use the range. That way, if you see someone without a card, you might want to check and see if they are authorized to be there. Only legal firearms, no automatic firearms are allowed. All shootings to take place within the range. You can't wander around up there and plink as you walk through the woods. There's a red flag to be raised while the range is in use. We'll show a picture of that shortly. Park your vehicles adjacent to the shooting benches behind the shooters. We ask that you remove your paper targets when leaving, and you shouldn't use cans, bottles, jars, or anything that would leave debris up there, but clay targets are okay. And shooting's allowed only from the shooting stations. A lot of times, particularly if you have a new shooter, you like to have them fairly close to the target, rather than taking them down to stand off the target, say on the pistol side of it. What we suggest you do is to keep the shooter on the firing line and use a freestanding target out 20, 25 feet in front of them. And I've got pictures shortly that'll show you a setup like that. No armor piercing, incendiary, or tracer ammunitions allowed. No intoxicating beverages or controlled substances allowed. And now we'll get into the range orientation. To get you oriented here, this is a map of Treasure Lake. Here's the Lakeview Lodge, the marina. There's the dam. And this is the road that goes up to Cayman Landing where the clubhouse is. About halfway up the road, you'll see a dirt road going off to the right. That's the access to the stump dump, and the shooting range is adjacent to the stump dump. We don't put a sign up there because we don't particularly want people knowing where it is. And when you go through this course, we tell you where it is, so that's not a problem. So when you pull off the stump dump road, you'll see our gate up here. Excuse me. And you'll drive to the left, come up this dirt road, and stop at the gate. And when you get to the gate, there's a flagpole here, and there's a red flag on one end of the loop and a green flag on the other. If no one's in the shooting range, the green flag should be up. If the green flag's up and you're going in to shoot, you raise the red flag and go on in and shoot. If someone else comes in, the red flag stays up. And then say if you leave, but there's still someone on the range, you leave the red flag up, and then the last person off the range will swap the green and the red flag. So there's a combination lock. The combination for 2021 will be on the back of your card. The combination will be changed about the 1st of May. So up to the 1st of May, you'll still use the 2020 lock combination. And it's suggested that you pull through, go ahead and lock the gate back up. That way, if you see someone else pulling through, coming in, you know that they had the combination to open the gate. And this is the type of lock we have up there. The combination is here on the bottom, and you just enter the 4 digits and then pull on the hoop. And we have this type of lock on 3 locations up there. There's one on the gate. There's one that secures the shooting star paddles under the shooting line roof. And then there's one on the storage container. All the locks have the same combination, so that if you go up there and want to get something out of the storage container, you just use the same combination you use to get into the gate. And like I mentioned, the combination will be changed in May.
Steve, you did change the combination on these 2021 cards, right?
Yes. This is a picture of the shooting range, if you haven't been up there. And starting at the far end, we've got some standing pistol stations. Then we have some 25-yard stations, a couple of 50-yard stations, and 300-yard stations. And then this is a look at the shooting line. We've got 2 types of tables on the shooting line. We've got the steel concrete ones that were recently built and installed. And then the wooden ones are the leftovers that we had before we put the roof over the shooting range. This is a picture of a women on target setup. And this type of target here is what I'm talking about, that you can use with new shooters, where you can set it out in front of the shooting station. And I think these are from Midway. You can get them all a lot of different sporting good places. And I think they run about $3 a set. And you get multiple targets that way, so that you pull a target up, you shoot it up, and then you can take it off and pull another one up. So it's a good way for new shooters to have pretty good success at the beginning. These little orange dots here, these are clay pigeons that we use. There's a little stand you can get to stick them into the ground. Little spinner targets are okay because they don't leave debris. And just a note on these seats, the seat is adjustable up and down, and you can switch it from right-hand shooting to left-hand shooting. Range housekeeping, we ask you to remove your targets, police your brass, and take your trash home. We don't have trash pickup up there. And if there are any problems, report it to a range safety officer or club officer as soon as possible. One last thing, this just happened recently. We ask you not to attach targets like clays to the backing frames of the target stands. Attach the targets to the rubber sheet because it doesn't take too much to shoot the backing frame apart. And enjoy and be safe. So I'm going to, okay, and finally, want to go over how you can get your Assistant Range Safety Officer card. Just as a reminder, training is required annually, so you need to take this course once a year. And to get your card, you watch the video, which is this video. And then after you do that, send me an email to SK Smith. Those are underscores, S_K_Smith_75 at yahoo.com. And in the body of the message, tell me the date you viewed the video, the time you viewed it, the name as you want it on the card, and your email address. And the reason I ask you to put this in the body of the message is that I do copy and paste of this information, so it eliminates my fat finger typing errors. So that way I can get a little higher percentage of success on getting things out. Final note, the lock combination shown on the back of the card will be effective on May 1st. We always send out an email to the club members announcing when that's happening. And then before May 1st, the combination will be the prior year's 4-digit code. So I'm hoping that covers everything, and would really appreciate it if you could follow this process to get me the information. Because it just makes it a lot more streamlined and error-free to do it this way. So this is the end again. So have fun.